I've had to do a lot of reconciling between because my parents were divorced and so were hers, and so it's like the belief system that we created about what that means for us growing up. I guess I projected that. I've had to do a lot of reconciling between because my parents were divorced and so were hers, and so it's like the belief system that we created about what that means for us growing
when there's
up.
an encouragement of dependency on other humans, it's room full of people off on the wrong foot right from the beginning. Because what it says is everybody's got to live out their full life, and nobody better die until I'm done needing you. And don't take your attention away from me, and don't be excited about anything else other than me. There is nothing about that is in vibrational alignment with what any one of you came into this life experience to live. Your children, when they are born, they're saying, yay, I get to come into this life experience and figure out my own way. And then they get here and their parents say, I will decide everything for you. And as soon as they're able to understand that, they begin balking at that. You're not the boss of me. I don't have to do what you say. You can beat them into submission, both emotionally and otherwise in time. But everything about who they are goes against the notion that you have a responsibility to join forces with some other person for any other reason other than to give them an avenue into this physical life experience. It helps the two of you got together.
With MailChimp, you can design beautiful marketing assets in no time at all, thanks to MailChimp's AI-powered
That doesn't mean that they're not loving families and loving relationships, but having a divorce doesn't mean that they're not still loving families and loving relationships. And the thing that will be most detrimental to your children is if you decide that you have to defend your impulse or your desire by pushing against something else, by explaining, I had to do this because of this, this, and this. You said for a lot of reasons. Well, let those reasons evaporate as quickly as you can. In other words, think in terms of what you're moving to, not what you're moving from. And most of all, try to see those involved through the eyes of Source. Let's chew on this just a little more. There's something sort of humanly satisfying to feel really needed, to feel needed in a relationship, to feel needed as a mentor or as a parent, but it fosters a dependency that in time will be the basis of true friction. Because when you feel needed and it feels good to be needed, and so you attract someone who likes to need, then what happens is pretty soon nobody feels free in that and everybody's blaming each other for it. And so your most natural instincts are those of independence from needing other humans and having a relationship with the whole of who you really are, you see. And so oh, it is such a wonderful thing to watch your children, and you will watch them. There will be a time, and not so far from now, that you will acknowledge this was good for them in these ways, in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. We're just going to throw some questions out to all of you and see how you're doing with this, because we can feel confusion in the room. We get why. So which feels better to you from the core of who you are? People who are dependent on you, or people who have found their own autonomy and connection? Which feels better? It's clear to you, isn't it? Which feels better? To be wanted and needed. Let's see if we can pose this in a way that will really break some things loose within you. Which feels better? To be needed and wanted, because we're not making too much separation between those two, between being needed and wanted and being loved. Which feels better? To need or to love? Which feels better? To expect a positive outcome or expect a negative outcome? Which feels better? To see weakness or to see strength? Which feels better? To see stability or to see instability? You know from your own life experiences what feels best to you. So when you stumble on a thought that's fostered from a belief, and some of those beliefs go way back, and you feel discord, just stop and say, what is this discord about? And what will come to your mind, if you're in the vicinity of alignment, what will come to your mind is the reason it feels like this is because this is an old belief This is a belief that is fostered by a world that wants to encourage dependency for the small satisfaction that there is in being needed. What a big price you've been paying for that small satisfaction in being needed. Do you really want your children to need you, or do you want them to stand strong and just adore life, adore their life, adore you, adore their mother? In other words, don't you want that? And none of that's on the table. This is not either or. Stay and ruin their lives, or go and ruin their lives. You're not in charge of whether they have a good life or whether they don't have a good life. You're in charge of whether you do, and you teach by the clarity of your example. So if you make a decision that you're going to go, and then you go and you feel guilty, or you go and you worry about them, then what example are you offering? But if you go and you stay in alignment, and you go and you still love yourself, and you go and you still love their mother, and you go and you still love them, what example are you setting? There are a lot of people that use love to control. There are a lot of people that use relationships to control, and they don't really mean to do it that way. It's just sort of, they don't know what else to do. But when you've tasted the sweet nectar of alignment, of really loving you, friends, you've got yourselves in quite a bind, because so many people around you have different ideas of how you should live. So you know what you become? You become guarded and deceptive. You pretend that you are different than you are, so that you don't upset anybody's apple cart, and so that it doesn't come back on you. But when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you're in love with life, and you've got source energy flowing through you, and your timing is such that you just say the right thing at the right time, and you feel good, and you rendezvous with those who are in harmony with you, you live happily ever after. And it's their job to do the same for them. You cannot get sick enough to help sick people get well, and you cannot get poor enough to help poor people become prosperous, and you cannot become confused enough to help confused people find clarity. You cannot become unhappy enough to help unhappy people become happy. All you can do is tune to the fullness of who you are and radiate that outward. And those who want some of that will gravitate to you, and those who are in some other vibrational thing will gravitate from you. It's not your job to uplift the world. It's your job to uplift yourself. And in doing so, others who are in the vicinity will be uplifted also, you see. Yeah. We think it is an interesting thing that humans, you put yourself in boxes and you say, this is the box of happiness. Let's call it marriage. And this is the box of unhappiness. So this is the way we would like you to look at this from now on. So here is all of humanity. And humanity is sometimes deliberately and knowingly, but mostly accidentally and by default. They've defined themselves in different categories. So there's Republicans and Democrats, and there's gay people and straight people, and there's married people and single people, and there's every distinction that you can imagine. There are piles of people, and they get together in their piles, and they feel self-righteous about the pile that they've defined and critical of almost all the other piles. And then you bang around with each other and say, isn't life interesting? And we say, we only see two piles. Those under the influence of source right now in this minute, and those under the influence of something else right this minute. And every pile has some of each in it. And so if you just decide that you're going to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, regardless of married or divorced, or regardless of this or that or the other, if you decide that you're going to be all that you are, the law of attraction will bring to you, because of the consistent vibration that you are emitting, what's a vibrational match to you, you see. And you can stop the futile, pretentious hypocrisy of pretending to be a whole lot of things that you have never wanted to be for the sake of those who haven't figured out how to make their own life work. Yeah. And by that, we pretty much mean all other people. All other people. It's their job to be happy, and it's not your job to perform in a way that makes them happy. And freedom comes from only that understanding. You're so free you can choose bondage. You're so free, you can choose a thought that aligns you or a thought that causes a tug of war within you. But you will never find a philosophy or a way of life that is offered by any group of people that as you follow it right down the line, it will bring you utter happiness. There is nothing like that. That's not what you came for. You didn't say, I'll come into physical experience and I'll figure out who's right and wrong and I'll join the groups that's right and condemn the groups that are wrong. People act like that's what their assignment was, but it's certainly not what they intended.
What would your life be like if you were a rapid transformational therapist?
You came to live happily ever after. You intended to let life show you what you want for now. And you intended to line up with that and find the fullness of that and let those thoughts turn to things while you define more and more and more. You're in a constant state of becoming. And unless you allow yourself to become, you will never feel satisfied. And almost everyone will resent every single person that they feel is holding them back. Do you know? I'm going to say it again. How you doing out there, by the way? Satisfaction comes from only one place. Satisfaction comes from having an intention and moving in the direction of it. And so you could not get together in a focus group and talk about what you should or shouldn't do, and then take the consensus and decide that that's what you're going to do. That would not bring you satisfaction. It would bring you deprivation, and it would bring you eventual resentment.
Yeah. And I feel that too, because, you know, I made that decision out of a space of complete alignment, and then got out of alignment when I started listening to the focus group.
Yeah. You know, this is going to sound strange to you in this context, but it's what we call buyer's remorse. So buyer's remorse is this. You're all frisky and tuned in. You're having a wonderful day. You see something you want and you move in the direction of it and you say yes to it. And then you get out of the vortex, you get back into the humdrum of work, you start feeling the deprivation of enough and you lose it. And buyer's remorse is you were in alignment and that's why it seemed like a good idea. And now you're not in alignment and that's why it sounds like not a good idea. And it's hard because the peanut gallery wants to define what's right or wrong for you to want. And they don't get to do that, which brings you around to the most significant thing that someone who's decided to live happily ever after will have to come to know. And that is you have to give up on caring whether other people get you or not, because other people are so diverse that they can't all get you. And then how do you decide which ones you want to get you? And then you have to analyze them to see if they're worth you letting them get you. And then you run around from group to group trying to decide if you've given yourself over to a group that's asking. It's an impossible situation. Or you can be who you are and line up with who you are and radiate your clarity and love and appreciation of life to anyone who gets near you. And
hello. How is everybody doing tonight? Thank you so much for hopping on another Woke Wednesday. Of course, my dog has to bark right now at this very moment. Shayna, come here. Sorry about that, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video by Abraham. And it's so crazy because I don't like pre-pick those videos. Like I literally go on YouTube, I type in Abraham Hicks, and the first video that comes up is the one that I choose. Right? Because I know that source works for me every single time and works in my favor every single time. And shout out to my girl Ivana for putting me on, because I live by this now. I love you. So I know that there's no coincidences when I go search for a video and that's the video that comes up. I'm like, that is what I'm going to need to hear, or someone else is going to need to hear. And that's the topic that I'm going to have to speak on tonight. Right? So that's why I love Abraham so much, because the topic that I already had kind of brewing in my head ties into a lot of the stuff that Abraham was speaking about tonight. Right? And I don't know how many of you, shout out to my mentor, Neno. If you don't know Neno, I don't know why I said that. If you don't, I was going to say do not, and then I was going to say don't at the same time. I don't know what happened there, but if you don't know Neno, Go follow Mornings with Neno, his podcast, his YouTube. Shout out to Neno, my mentor, someone who I look up to in this space as a motivational speaker, as someone who is completely inspiring in this space. And, shout out to you again. But if you guys were on his call this morning, you would have heard that he was speaking about the Mamba mentality. And rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Someone who not only was an incredible athlete, but someone who was an incredible human, an incredible spirit, right? The Mamba mentality, that wasn't just for athletes. The Mamba mentality was for everyone to live by. He was living so in his purpose that he attracted other people to live that way too. He created a legacy, right? If you didn't know Kobe Bryant before, you definitely know Kobe Bryant now, after his death, right? And it's amazing because, like, I just wrote down one thing that Abraham said: by uplifting yourself, you're going to then uplift others, right? You're then going to uplift others. So Kobe Bryant worked his butt off, right? He did things that most people are not willing to do to get the success that most people don't have. And look how many people now follow in his mentality, in his footsteps, in his hard work, right? Hard work outweighs talent every time. That is a Kobe quote, and that is so true. The person, like, I could outwork any person with talent, straight up. And I know 95% of you on here can do that as well. Ariel, Shauna, Andrew. You guys have the ability to outwork anyone. I love you too. You don't have to be good at something for it to work for you. I didn't come into the network marketing business. I didn't come into trading, digital entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship. I don't know why I can't speak today. As a whole, thinking I knew I was going to succeed in it. I actually didn't think I was good at it at all. I thought I sucked at sales. My last sales job, I always needed someone to help me close. Like, I didn't believe in myself. Right? But what I did know is I could put the work in. I could put the hours in. I could build any presentation you needed me to do. I could get on the call and I could just talk, like I could do it. I could walk the walk, right? And sometimes that's all it takes, guys. Putting in those extra hours, doing what it is that most people are not willing to do, so that you can get the desired results that most people don't get but want, right? So if you're at a point in your life where you're feeling anxious, where you're feeling angry or defeated or even like a failure, stop. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? The only person who puts limitations on yourself is you. So stop feeling anxious. Stop feeling angry. Stop feeling, fearful. Stop feeling like a failure. Because if I could do any of this, you could certainly do any of it. Trust me when I tell you. Public speaking was not one of my strong suits, right? Love you too, guys. Public speaking was not one of my strong suits, but I made it a point to get on a call every single day and speak no matter what I sounded like or no matter how many times I messed up my words like I do constantly all the time. But I just don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks of me anymore because I know that I have a purpose bigger than anything I can even fathom. I know that Source has a bigger, see, I don't even know the word, has a bigger plan for me than I even know right now. But I know that I have to get in front of people in order to have that pan out for me. Right? That is what I know. George just wrote a quote on the live. If you fight for your limitations, the grand prize is you get to keep them. Yes, that's so true. I love that. I love that. So don't put limitations on yourself. Right? Kobe didn't put limitations on himself. He woke up at 3 a.m. He worked out 3 to 4 times a day. Who's doing that? But he knew he had to do those things in order to get those desired results that most people don't get. So what legacy do you want to leave? Right? And Neno spoke about this morning, and he said, you die twice in this life. You die twice. The first time is physically. You physically die, right? And the second time is when your name is last spoken. The last time that somebody speaks your name. Right? And what is that called? When people speak about you long after you're gone. When the things you did in life are still relevant in death. That's your legacy. So what legacy are you leaving? What legacy are you leaving? My desire is to leave a legacy. Like that is my main goal, is to leave a legacy. You know, I want to be the most influential woman in network marketing, the most influential motivational speaker that there was in my age group who has gone through the things that I've gone through. And I don't know if a lot of you know my story, but I think a lot of you do. And this is part of my mission. I really wanted to speak about this tonight because I was speaking with one of my mentors today, and she was talking to me about my why. Basically, she was talking to me about my why. Right? And yes, I always had a list of my why I do the things I do, why I embarked on this entrepreneurial journey and whatnot. And it was all things that I don't really know like the word I'm looking for, but like things that were kind of small, right? Like I want to do it for my mom, you know, because like my mom was a single mom and she fucking did everything and she was so hardworking and like I want to give back to her, and that's great. And that's fucking awesome. I wanted to do it for my niece, my brothers. I wanted to do it because I wanted financial freedom. I wanted time freedom. I wanted all that. But that's not big enough. People aren't going to remember me because I wanted to help my mom. Everyone wants to help their mom. What makes you different? You have to really think about that. What makes you different? What is going to make people remember you long after you're gone? And I really had to sit and think about that. And it really came to me. And if this goes back to my story, and, you know, I also just heard Leanne talk about this. You know, the person who tells their story the most wins. The person who tells their story the most wins. The person who tells their story the most wins. The more you tell your story, the more you win, because the more you can be true to yourself. Right? So again, by uplifting yourself and stepping into your truth, you're going to be able to uplift others. You're going to attract what you put out. Right? So for those of you who don't know anything about my story, I'm going to tell you guys my story tonight. And I have a little presentation too that I'm going to show you guys on something that Neno spoke about this morning, but if you guys don't know who that is or you weren't on his call, you'll be able to get a little bit of what he spoke about today. And repetition is key, right? So we have to continuously repeat, listen to repetitively the things that we want to understand on a subconscious level, right? So a little bit about me. I am 25 years old. I live in New York, and about, oh my God, it's crazy. I've been clean for like 7 years now. Damn. So when I was young, really young, like 13, 14 years old, I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I was hanging out with like older people, like things that I shouldn't have been doing, I was doing. And you guys can probably assume what that was. I got addicted to drugs really, really young. And not just smoking weed and not just drinking, like I was doing heavy, hard drugs. Okay. And I am so proud to speak about this because not a lot of people overcome that. Not a lot of people get through something like that or outlive it to speak about it. So I'm super grateful every single day for my health. And I'm super grateful that I'm able to share my story with everyone because you don't know who out there needs to hear what it is that you've gone through because they might be going through the same thing, or they might be watching someone that they love go through the same thing. And you don't know what words you say may impact them. So I'm grateful to be able to share my story with everybody. And it makes me a better leader. It makes me a better person. It makes me connect to my source and my creator even more. So I'm grateful for my creator putting me through these trials and tribulations and traumas because I wouldn't be the person I am today and I wouldn't be able to impact the way that I want to, right? So I had substance abuse problems. I was addicted to pills, opiates, heroin, coke, you name it. Okay. 13, 14, 15 years old. Okay. Getting arrested. I was in jail. You probably look at me now like little blonde, whatever, and say, that girl was in jail. That girl did drugs. Yeah. So never judge a book by its cover because you don't know what that person could have gone through. My dog is being so annoying and I really just want to get this bag out of her mouth. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. So I had an issue with substance abuse. Obviously, I said that. I've been to jail. I got the bag. And that shit was scary, right? Like I thought I was a tough girl. I really did. And I had no passions. Like I didn't know what I wanted. I was so young when I started doing those things that like I didn't even think about the future. Like the future wasn't even a thing. Like I was just like doing my everyday thing, committing crimes to get money and doing things that are just, I can't even imagine doing today. And I'm kind of grateful that I was able to go through those things at a younger age because I grew up and now I'm still only 25 years young and I'm able to live a life beyond my wildest dreams. So, that shit was rough. And I feel for anyone out there going through substance abuse or abuse in any sense of the word, mental abuse, physical abuse, because in my journey, I experienced all of that. Okay. And it's not an easy thing to deal with. Right. But I'm here to show you that you can overcome anything. It all starts up here. And that's why I love the Mamba mentality, because it's all about you doing the work and getting in touch with you so that you can be uplifted. And by you uplifting yourself, you're then able to leave that legacy. And you're then able to have people come into your life that, you know, are looking to achieve the same things as you, or maybe have gone through similar things, and you're able to help impact them. Right? So you have to literally become the person that you want to be in order to get the things that you desire. Like back then, my desires were nothing compared to what my desires are now. My desires were literally like to wake up not sick, to have a car, to like wake up in the morning, because I never knew if I was going to or not, because I was doing so many drugs that like it was just like a crapshoot. Like, am I gonna wake up? I have no idea. Like my desires were so minimal, right? And I like, people ask me all the time, like, how did you do it? How did you stop doing those things that you were doing to become this person? And like, I really have no answer. I give it to God and source, like literally, because I didn't do anything extreme or extraordinary. I just one day said to myself, oh my God, this is not who I am. Like it was like a moment of clarity. This is not who I am. I have a vision of who I want to be. And I literally just started acting like that. Like I went to rehab. I stopped using. I finished all my court bullshit. And I just started becoming the woman that I knew I needed to be to get the things I wanted. And looking back on it now, like I received so much more than I could ever even imagine. I got so much more. And I just give it to source. I just give it to God, because all I had to do was become. Right? I didn't have to do any extra shit. Like I have no answer when people say, how did you do it? And I feel really like conflicted a lot of the time, just to be real, because I know so many people that go through this issue and they can't stop, or they don't know why they can't stop. And my answer is so simple. It's like, just stop. Like, if you want to stop, just stop. Like, just become the person that you want to be, and you'll stop. You want a car, you want money, you want a relationship with your family, you want a relationship with a girl or a guy. Become the person who they would want you to be. It doesn't matter who you're doing it for at that point. Like I hear a lot of people say, you have to do it for you. You have to do it for you. Yes, you have to do it for you, but you can do it with somebody else in mind. And then eventually you'll want to do it for you. And that's not just with addiction. That relates to entrepreneurship too. Right? If you feel like you don't have it in you, do it for somebody else. And this is tying back into my mission, which I'm going to say to you guys in a few minutes. Wake up in the morning, not for you, for the woman out there who has no choice but to be, sex trafficked and abused every single day. Do it for the young man who is 14 years old, living in a third world country, or less than 14 years old, like 10 years old, working 20 hours a day, probably for like no money. Do it for the people who don't have a choice. And you're going to start to really rethink your actions. Right? Don't do it for you. Do it for the person who can't, the person who wishes they could. And maybe eventually you'll be able to reach that person. Right? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys a little presentation that I made. It's like really like short and sweet. It's just so you guys have a visual. So I'm not just like, you're not just looking at me, even though I know I'm beautiful and you want to look at me. So for those of you on IG Live, sorry. So my why and my mission is really huge, and your why should be really huge, because the reason you wake up in the morning, you know, you have to think about, you know, if you don't want to wake up in the morning, if you're hitting that snooze button, who are you affecting? Not you. You're affecting the person who might have needed you to get on your live Instagram story that morning. Or you're, you know, missing out on a call that you might have had to hear something that was going to eventually help you help someone else. Right? So my mission, and I want to make this clear to everyone so you guys can stand by me, hold me accountable as I expect from each and every one of you. My mission is to help suffering addicts get the help that they need, no matter what their financial situation is, no matter what their circumstances are. I want to build retreats. I want to have like spiritual retreats and all natural, you know, everything. Like, my dreams are huge. My dreams are huge. And I don't want that to be at any cost to anyone who can't afford it. Right? So that's my mission, and it ties into, you know, the Mamba mentality, right? So the 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality, if you guys don't have a pen and paper out yet, please get one out now. You definitely need one. And again, shout out to Neno for talking about this morning and piquing my interest as to what I was going to speak about today. And it definitely tied in with the video that I played before and just the things that have been going on in my life recently. And like, you know, my grandfather passing and, you know, just, you know, thinking a lot about my past has got me just, you know, in a certain type of feeling. Like, I just feel like I had to talk about it. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Yeah, it's just a lot. But okay. 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality. You guys ready? If you're ready, drop a 777 in the chat. If you're ready to learn the 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality. Let's go. All right. And then we're going to do a little meditation, I promise. So Kobe said the hard work outweighs talent every single time, right? So the 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality are 1, passion, 2, obsession, 3, relentlessness, 4, resiliency, and 5, fearlessness. All right. So I'll give you a second to jot those down. We'll go through each one of them and then we'll do our meditation for the night. All right. So passion. You have to love what it is that you do or it's never going to work. So no matter what you're putting your mind to, you have to be passionate about it. You have to love it with all of your heart, or it's not going to work out for you. Right? I had to be in love and I had to be passionate about the life I wanted in order for me to get it. I had to love me. I had to be passionate about me because my only concern at that point was living. Now my desires and dreams are way past that. Now I'm on to impacting and helping the lives of millions of people become financially independent, become confident, right? But you have to be passionate. You have to love what you do or it will never work. Number 2, obsession. What is obsession? Obsession could be looked at in a negative sense, but obsession is a good thing. When you become obsessed with something, when you become obsessed with the thing that you're passionate about, nothing can get in your way. Nothing and no one can get in your way. So obsession is not allowing anything to get in your way. Right? Not a party. You know, if you're obsessed, you're not gonna let an invitation to going out on a Friday night deter you from your goals and your dreams. Like, let's say you had a call and you got invited somewhere. Which one are you choosing? If you're choosing going out with your friends and partying when you had a call, you're not obsessed. If you're hitting snooze, you're not obsessed. If your calendar isn't booked, you're not obsessed. If you're not reading books and doing personal development, you're not obsessed. Right? You need to become obsessed with the thing that you're passionate about so that you can grow and elevate. 3, resilience. Resilience is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is intense and eager enjoyment, interest, or approval. Are you barking at me? Come here. So, do you think that, you know, it was easy to go through the things that I went through? And I'm not having like a pity party here. Like, I know there's a lot of people that have gone through a lot of shit. And a lot of them are on this call right now. I know a lot of your stories, and I'm proud of you. If nobody told you that they're proud of you, I am so fucking proud of you. I could cry. That's how proud of you all I am. I love every single one of you because you're resilient. You're here. You are not allowing failure to let you stop what you're doing, to stop you from your goals and your dreams. Right? So, are you kidding me? Stop. So you have to be able to bounce back. Bounce back. That's really what resiliency is, bouncing back. Going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Being able to lose your business and still be excited. Sorry. Being able to maybe relapse if that's your story, but then get clean again and be excited, you know, being able to lose money on a trade and still be excited and still know that there's a lot more abundance out there for you in those markets. Be resilient, be able to bounce back. Number 4, relentlessness. Be relentless. The definition of relentless is continuing without becoming weaker, remaining strict or determined. Continuing without becoming weaker. You want to push through everything you're going through with a relentless mindset. You have to keep going and keep pushing on. You have to remain strict and determined. You have to be relentless when it comes to your goals and your dreams. And number 5, fearless. The definition of fear is face everything and rise. And write that down if you don't have that down. Face everything and rise. If you don't overcome your fears, you think it wasn't scary to be uncomfortable and do things and become this woman that I had no idea was even inside of me. You think I wasn't afraid. You think that wasn't scary to do. But I knew if I didn't surrender, I knew if I didn't face everything and rise, I would fall. I would fall. Right? So you want to be fearless in everything that you do. Who cares what anybody thinks? Don't care what anybody thinks of you. You're your own worst critic, right? The only limitations that are put on you are by yourself. Remember that. So face everything and rise. Be fearless in your business. Be fearless in your life. Be fearless in every single thing that you do. And I promise you, and I guarantee you that you will succeed. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation, but it's 9:48. So I really want to do a meditation. We're going to do a meditation that I never did before. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Everybody make sure that you are in a seated position or you're lying down and you're in a comfortable position. You know, I'll give everybody a second to get comfy. Maybe turn a light off. All right, guys, here we go.
Find a quiet and relaxing space to dedicate the next few minutes to yourself. To begin, gently close your eyes and settle into your body. Take a deep breath and hold for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, inhale and hold your breath for 7 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale for 8 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat this breathing exercise by yourself 2 more times. This breathing technique calms your autonomic nervous system, the part that responds to stress and activates the relaxation response in your body. Return your breathing to a normal rhythm. Feel the breath make its way through your body, through each organ and each cell. Allow yourself to bring your attention to the present moment. Notice any sensations in your body. Is there a tingling in your fingertips or toes? Good. Place your hand on your heart and picture a color or a texture. Focus on the sensation. The more you focus on the sensation, the deeper you go into bringing awareness to your body. Stay there and keep focusing on the feeling. You'll notice that with your awareness, the feeling slowly dissipates. At the next inhale, picture that you breathe in light, a light so yellow and bright that it fills you up and lights up all around you. Picture the light like a bubble that wraps all around your body. As you exhale through your mouth, picture releasing a cloudy gray fog. This fog is all of your fears, worries, and negative thoughts. This is what's blocking you from reaching your full potential. Breathe in light again and exhale more fog. There is no place for these fears, worries, and negative thoughts. Not in your mind and not in your body. Release them now. Picture this fog traveling from the depths of your belly, and as it rises through your throat and out of your mouth, it takes with it all the thoughts that you are now ready to release. Exhale the fog out of your mouth and see how it disappears into thin air. Repeat this a few times until you feel like you have entirely exhaled any negative energy that's weighing you down. Feel how positive energy radiates from every cell in your body. Remember that you are always connected to this light source. You can come back to this feeling every time because, in truth, this is your essence. This is who you are. You are pure love. You are infinite potential. Now, bring to mind a dream or goal that you want to accomplish. Get very specific with this vision. What are you doing? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you wearing? Once you can clearly see this dream or goal of yours, feel what it would be like to have accomplished it. What are the emotions you would experience if you achieved this goal? How would your body posture change when you envision yourself having accomplished this goal? Notice the sensations in your body. Is there a temperature for it? Is there a tingle or a buzz or loving energy that hugs your body? The key is not only to see, but also to feel yourself having fulfilled your desire. Fully experience this accomplishment. Know that you are a powerful creator of your reality. Everything you want to accomplish in this life is possible. All you have to do is remember that your mind is a powerful tool. When you harness the power of your mind, you can achieve anything you want. Repeat these affirmations, either out loud or within your head. I am capable of achieving my dreams. I am infinite potential.
I am infinite potential.
I am worthy of all my desires and wants.
I am worthy of all my desires and wants.
I have everything I need within me now to accomplish my dreams.
I have everything within me now to accomplish my goals and dreams.
As I reach success, those around me find success as well.
As I reach success, those around me find success as well.
I permit myself to unleash my potential for the good of all.
I permit myself to unleash my potential for the good of all.
I trust in my power to make any vision come to life.
I trust
so it
in my
is.
power to make any vision come to life.
When you're ready, take one last deep breath and gently open your eyes. If you've enjoyed this guided...
All right, guys, you can slowly open your eyes, wiggle your fingers, your toes. All right. Well, there you have it. Another Woke Wednesday in the books. I'm so sorry if you heard Shayna barking, but guys, I'm so grateful for every single one of you. I appreciate you. I love you. If you guys want more motivational stuff on the daily, subscribe to my channel, on my Telegram channel. I'll send you the meditation if you want. Message me for the meditation if you want that meditation. And my channel link is in my Telegram bio as well. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube Trade House Queens. My Instagram is Journey with Jenna. Journey with _Jenna. _Jenna. So you can reach out to me on my Instagram and I will send that to you. Join my channel, subscribe to the YouTube. I love every single one of you. Thank you for spending another Wednesday night with me. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. We have a special guest, so make sure you're on.